when I think of you. Like champagne and caviar, you're such a treat. Like cherries to believe, you're oh so sweet. You whet my appetite each time we meet. Oh, James, it's true. I get hungry when I think of you.
Hi there, it's the Urban Peasant time again. Today we're going to do Mediterranean food. Now everybody chunters on about Mediterranean food, you know, it's always very healthy, and it is. But there's a whole lot of people who figure that if you have Mediterranean food, you can't have meat. The most popular meat in the Mediterranean is lamb. I don't need all this. I'm going to cut half of this off and put the rest of it in the fridge. I'll do that in a minute. But what I want to do is to just show you how to cook lamb Mediterranean style, which is dead easy and it's very economical. So to cut it up into pieces. Now you don't have to do this if you don't. If you really have an aversion to becoming a surgeon, if you watch this program long enough, you will become a qualified brain surgeon. We can assure you of that, and then you make millions of dollars. But if you don't want to do it, you just go to the supermarket and you say, please give me some stewing lamb cut up in nice little pieces, and they will be very glad to do that for you. But I like to cut it up because, well, I just like to cut it up. I like to feel the food, and I cut it up small enough so I've got total control over what I'm doing. I just like little small bits. Now what I'm going to do with this lamb, now we've cut it up, is toss it with some flour. Alright, a little bit of flour over the top. I'm going to do this just to make it, give it quick body in a stew. A little bit of salt on top of it, and of course a whole lot of pepper. Right, that's all we need. So there, just toss it together. Use your fingers and make you feel good about it. And make sure that you've got string. Now, because cooked string would be bad for the gourmet scene. Okay, there we go. A little bit of olive oil. Have a hot pan, you know, over and over again. Let the pan get hot before you put the oil in, then it won't stick. You know, that's one of those things you have to learn. In goes the meat. Don't dump it in one great big lump, but break it up a little bit just to put it in this way so it gets cooked. And there we go. Hot oil. Get it going. Now what we're going to use, I'm going to wash my hands, get rid of this board. Alright, and there you are. What I'm going to do with this now is cut up an onion. We're going to use lentils. Now lentils, again, very big Mediterranean food, very cheap, and a lot of the best food is the cheapest food. Always remember that. People come home from visits to wherever and they rave about some dish they ate and they suddenly find out it's made out of cheap stuff and never want to eat it again. Well, just try this. I'm going to cut up this onion and then get out the lentils. I've got dry lentils, all right? And I'm going to take about a cup of dry lentils because I always have lentils hanging around. And I'm going to have those ready to go. I can use a can, but right for now I'm gonna use my here we go, little bit of meat, heat up high, quickly fry the outside of it. When you read all these things in recipes about fry the garlic and then remove it, that's nonsense. It'll burn if you get it hot enough to get the flavor out of it. And then, you know, fry the onions and then brown the meat. You brown the meat first, then you put the other stuff in there. So there we are, I've got all our browned meat, in goes the onion. Right. Now, this is really simple. This is something you can put together in about 6 or 7 minutes, and then you've got it done. Tomatoes, turn them over flat, cut them up into pieces, and just No big deal. If you want to use a can, use a can. You can use canned lentils and canned tomatoes. It won't taste quite the same, but sometimes canned tomatoes are better than the others, especially in the winter. So give it a stir. Well, it doesn't matter what you stir it with. I couldn't find my wooden spoon, so we'll just use the chopsticks. Right? We'll put in some pepper. Lots and lots of pepper. And we'll put into it the tomatoes. Right. And there we go. We're going to season it. What with? Sage. This is different to the usual thing. Everybody thinks of oregano. Sage leaves. Lots of sage leaves, or a tablespoonful of dried sage, whatever you want to do. Now, in go the lentils. All right? And in goes some water. 1 cup of the lentils and about 2 cups of water. Now what's going to happen here, the juices are going to come out of the tomatoes and the onions, and they're going to work together with the water and the sage and the pepper and the salt and the flavour of everything else that's in there, and the meat is out of the juice, and the juices out of the meat, the meat is out of the juice, and they're going to make a great thing. And all we do with this now is bung it in the oven for about 25 minutes and let it cook together. You'll be surprised how nice it is. So that's all you got to do. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Mediterranean food. We've got lamb and lentils cooking in the oven. We're going to make some dessert. Well, I don't very often make dessert, but this one's really quick and really easy. I put some walnuts into toast because you always try and roast nuts a little bit before you use them. Gives them a lot better flavor. I've got some sugar and some cinnamon. So I'm going to mix about a teaspoonful of cinnamon with the sugar and then just stir it together. That gives it, that's that nice sort of smell you get, well, you know, cinnamon toast, all that kind of thing. This is right. We're going to make baklava. All right? You need some butter, and you need quite a lot of butter. So let's put a good big dollop of butter on it. But this is desserts we're talking about. This is nice things that you get self-indulgent over. You stop worrying too much about your diet. If you eat too much, stop. That's the best way to diet. All right, just let me better turn that on. Just melt that butter when we do this, and then dead easy. We get some phyllo pastry, and you buy it from the store, all ready to go. It keeps in the fridge, and there you are. You just mess with it. Now, what I like to do really quickly is open it out and cut it more or less in half. Okay? Yes? Cut it with a sharp knife. It won't work with a blunt knife. Just cut it through like that. And then you can take this spare piece, roll it up in the wax paper. That's a bit that's left over, and put it back in the fridge. I'll do that in a minute, okay? But I just want to show you how to make this in real hurry. Now you take your baklava, your phyllo pastry, and you take your melted butter, right? You put that there, and you get a little brush, and you put a little bit of butter on a baking dish. You can read all kinds of stuff about phyllo pastry, how to keep it covered with a wet cloth. Well, if you work quickly, you don't. So you take 1 or 2 pieces of phyllo pastry. Just pick them up like that. Lay it on the butter. But lay another bit on it to give it a sort of base in the bottom. I usually put a couple on at a time. Okay, just that one like that. Brush it with butter. You can't drag it all over it because it all runkles up. So just dab it a bit like that. Now you've got some butter in there. Then you get your nuts on the chopping board and you chop them up. If you burnt a couple, you chuck them out. Don't go around apologizing to people. If you screw up, you screw up. That's the way it goes, right? Chop up the nuts. There. So they're nice and fine. Some people use pistachio nuts. That's okay. And I guess if you weren't to, you could use walnuts. But, well, I've got walnuts. You could use almonds. Whatever. So then you just sprinkle nuts over there. Like that. You get some more phyllo. You lay it on like that. And some more butter. Right. Be generous with the butter. That's nice. Now see what happens here. Put some more nuts on top of there. Like that. Just a few. Too many. And some more phyllo on top of it. And of course, what else? You know, a bit of butter. And the butter is one of those things that I always reckon is essential in the kitchen. All right. Now, I'm going to put that. No, I'm not going to put. I'm going to put a few more walnuts on there. I'm going to put now start to flavor it up. Put a little bit of sugar and cinnamon on there. Couple more nuts. Bit more phyllo. And you just keep on going like that. Butter. Right. Right. Nuts. You know, it's repetitive work. This is terrible, isn't it? Making dessert. And then put some more sugar and cinnamon on top of it. Put some more phyllo on the top. Just a bit more butter. And finally, all the nuts you've got left, do them gently and lightly in there, all right? And a bit more phyllo. Right, now you finish. A bit more sugar, cinnamon. That's all, you just keep making that. Then you finish it up with a good drizzle of honey over the top. What I do, because I like to make it nice and crisp, is to get a little bit of butter and dub that on top of it so it will go nice and crisp. And then you bang it in the oven at 375 degrees along with the lamb, and in about 10 minutes it's done. Like. I'm roasting peppers, all right? Now, look, see, skin's all soupy. Look, got it? All the skin is charred on the bottom of that. And I'll put that in a plastic bag, like that, and let the steam that's in them just steam the skin off. They do that because, I'll put it there, they do that because the skin gets in your teeth, and besides, it tastes nicer. There are ways to do it, roasting peppers whole in the oven, but it takes a long time of messing about and moving around. You can do it very well on the barbecue, but that is the easiest way I know. You can even do it on an electric stove. You cut them up, you just cut slices off the pepper, sort of just straight-sided slices, and put those on like that. That's the easy way to do it, right? Now, we're going to we're still doing Mediterranean food, and we'll do a pan bagna. Now, You can get a big submarine sandwich, hero sandwich. There's all kinds of variations on this. Unfortunately, most hero sandwiches are a disaster, but you can make nice ones if you go about it with nice, good bread. Don't completely cut through it if you can avoid it. And then this is what you use, a spoon or your fingers to scratch some of the insides out. That's an important thing to do, just so that you've got room in there to get the rest of the stuff you're going to put in. When they make this kind of thing down in New Orleans. Why they make it in New Orleans? Well, they learned it from the French. French learned it from the Italians. But in New Orleans they make this muffaletta. You get a great big, and you can put all kinds of nice things in it, but the classic one is like this. There you are. Big hole, small top, right? Just get rid of that. Dead easy. You need tomatoes, you need some tuna. Get the best tuna you can. There's a big difference in tuna, and if you get good tuna in oil from Italy, it's a very good thing there because they don't have trouble with dolphins like a lot of the tuna that comes from the Pacific. So get good tuna and just strain off a little bit of the oil. I could strain that. I'll take those olives out of there for a minute. Just strain off some of the oil. Right. Now you put into it roast peppers. See, I roasted these earlier, and there's a bit of the skin. We'll just pull that little bit off there. You put some pepper in there. And I mean, I shouldn't be showing you how to do this. This is cooking at its absolutely elemental. You get thin sliced tomatoes, and you put those in there. And put the tomato on the top, actually. Put it over there. You put a little bit of pepper on top of it. You get a good dollop of tuna. To go in the hole in there, and you build it up. You don't mess with it. You put lots in there because this is a sandwich, which is it's just a sandwich, but it's a classic sandwich, right? And you get some olives, and you either chop them up or put them in whole. I like to put them in whole because I like to taste things. And that, pat that on it like that. You get some really good olive oil. Okay. You let that soak in for a minute. I'll just hang on because I've got to have a quick look in the oven. What do I do with my oven though? Here, I can smell it. And if you can smell, oh boy. Okay, look at this. There is our baklava. Now it's the sugar that's burned around there. That's fine. We'll let it cool a little bit and we'll cut it up. It'll be a wonderful dessert. That really didn't take very long. Now look, so there we are. We've got that happening. We've got tuna. We've got spare bread left over. We want green peppers. We've got in there, and that's all we need. But we haven't got quite enough stuff in there, so I'm going to put another slice of tomato on top of there like that. We put some olive oil in there already. You have to have some salt. What do I do with the salt? Where did I put the salt? Here it is. A little bit of salt, and then you put the lid on. Now, if this were in France, they would put it somewhere with a cloth over it and a weight on top of it, like that. I'm going to wait, so I'm going to wait here for 2 minutes while you guys take a break, and that's all there is to it. When you come back, I shall still be waiting here for you, so don't go away. Would love to, but yeah, look, I'm sorry. No, I've got to go. I've got something pressing. Thank you. Bye. Sandwich. There it is, pan bagna. Now, what you do with this is just cut it in half after it's been pressed, and sometimes in France they press them overnight. They do it in truck stop cafes, but you get really good bread, and then it looks just great inside, like that. Let's be artsy about this. There we go. Right. Now, that is not traditional baklava, but it's a wonderful baklava. It's going to be hot. Let me get a cloth. And what you do is slide. See, we buttered the bottom. Now, with a little bit of... There we go. Right. A little bit of burnt sugar around it doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to put some whipped cream on that. I mean, that's not traditional either, but I got it in the fridge, all right? In the oven, you remember it? We put lamb and lentils, the main course in the oven, us being Mediterranean, very simple. Lamb, lentils, onions, a bit of garlic, some sage. Hold that below. You ready? There you go. See? That's how you do it. And that's all you got to do for it. Mediterranean food, all food, very easy as long as you have a good time doing it. If you get into it and cook, then that's all right. So, there. The simplest way I know to choose vegetables is to make sure they're shiny. I mean, they've got to be shiny because then it means the skin is full. And it's like the backs of babies' knees, you know, when you look at a really healthy baby. So make sure they're shiny and full. If they're wrinkled, don't buy them. Just cutting up my baklava, okay? And this is not a traditional way to do it, but I just love it because you just cut it up and then put dollops of, cut it to diamonds, put dollops of, well, let's do it to diamonds, okay? Move that out of the way. Bye.